Thanks for joining us here on the CBN News Channel. I'm Ephraim Graham.
And I'm Charlene Israel. The controversial hearings on radical Islam are underway today in Congress. The goal is to put a spotlight on the growth of Islamic homegrown terrorism in the U.S. And the hearing sponsors say the Muslim community needs to be part of the solution. Paul Strand has more from Washington.
Some Muslims feel Representative Peter King's hearing unfairly targets their religion and will make the atmosphere in America worse, maybe even more dangerous for Islam and its people.
It's not domestic extremism in which Representative King is interested. Representative King is interested in scoring cheap political points by vilifying vulnerable communities. And that is a threat that should concern all of us.
It's violating people's civil rights and civil liberties, putting an entire religion on trial, and not actually going after the real criminal threats, which really concern all of us as American citizens.
The White House has weighed in.
We believe that Muslim Americans are part of the solution. They are not the problem.
But King says he's zeroing in on the Muslim American community because that's where the worst terrorist threat is coming from.
It might be politically correct, but it makes no sense at all to be talking about other types of so-called extremism when the major threat to the United States today is coming from al-Qaeda, and al-Qaeda is attempting to recruit in this country. And as Eric Holder said, I believe in the last 2 years alone, there have been 50 homegrown terrorists arrested in this country.
And they were all Muslim.
In the last 2 years, there's been no terror indictments of neo-Nazis or skinheads or environmental extremists.
Waleed Faris, author and terrorism expert, says this isn't about Islam, it's about a real terrorist threat.
Because we had over the past weeks, months, and years, dozens and dozens of self-described jihadists who were attempting to, and some of them have unfortunately been successful in doing acts of terror against the United States. So it's really national security here. We're not talking about theology.
To the idea that it's mainly American Muslims outing homegrown terrorists, King answers that's not always true.
I will have people from the Muslim community who will say how when they went to law enforcement, how imams attempted to stop them, how they were threatened when they did want to report. When the FBI began investigations, how the imams in their mosques told them not to cooperate.
Anti-terrorism consultant Patrick Poole says much of the outcry from some Muslims is because they want to protect shady Islamic American groups that really do radicalize Americans.
Time and time again, we see terrorists being churned out on a conveyor belt out of these organizations, and these groups do not want Congress looking into that.
King's price for holding this hearing? He's receiving threats from both inside and outside the U.S. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Jordan Sekulow of the American Center for Law and Justice joins us now. Jordan, some Muslims say they're being unfairly targeted by this hearing. What do you say?
I say this, think about it right now and think about world religions and name another religion in the world that is engaged in an international coordinated effort to kill civilian populations, including right here in the United States of America. And unfortunately, we live in a time where only Islam meets that definition. And it may be a radical strain of Islam that's responsible for it, but let's give an opportunity to American Muslims to come to Capitol Hill and tell the American people, grab a national platform that they would never have without Congressman King, because the Muslim world in America is dominated by multi-million-dollar foreign finance groups like the Council on American Islamic Relations, who should be scared of these hearings because they've already got former staff in jail for terrorism. So they're the kind of groups that should be concerned. At the same time, Congressman King is letting American Muslims come to the table to talk about their problems and to talk about how they're trying to work with law enforcement.
Critics are comparing this to a communist witch hunt, Japanese internment camps. What's their agenda?
Yeah, I think their agenda is to silence any discussion about Islam and terrorism. So it's okay to have a hearing about radicalism in general. But where's that going to get us? I mean, we don't need to have a discussion just about general extremism. We need to have a discussion about the greatest threat. You heard from Congressman King. The greatest threat, when Eric Holder, the most liberal attorney general in United States history, was asked, what keeps you up at night? He didn't say terrorists sneaking in from Saudi Arabia to try to blow up planes or crash them into buildings. He said homegrown terrorism. So it's the #1 threat to America. It's happening right on our soil. We have Americans recruiting Americans to kill other Americans, and it's happening right in our suburbs. Could be at a mosque down the street, from Portland, Oregon, to Texas, New York, right outside here in Washington, D.C. These stories are all over the place.
In light of what you said, what do you think these hearings will accomplish?
Well, I think we are going to see groups that have seized the national spotlight. So these national Islamic groups really for the first time be put on display under a microscope for the American people. So if you follow the news closely, you know about CARE's shady ties. If you don't follow them as closely, maybe you'll think again about these groups that claim to speak on behalf of all American Muslims. The second thing I hope we see is new American Muslims rise to the occasion so that we're not just referring to those groups like CARE, which many of us believe have terrorist and extremist ties.
We're just about out of time, but real quick, we have to ask you this. We need the Muslim community to fight terrorism. Have they been helpful to date?
I think some people have tried to be helpful, but we're going to hear, unfortunately, in this hearing that a lot of people, even those Muslims who are supporting these hearings, they get attacked. They get called bad Muslims. And so you see from radical Islamic groups and also the far left, the progressives here in the United States, all attacking any Muslims who happen to embrace these hearings. And that's what we have to change.
Indeed, indeed. Jordan Sekulow of the American Center for Law and Justice, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
A Muslim man has been sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for beheading his wife in 2009. Hassan is the founder of Bridges TV. He helped create that station in Buffalo, New York, with the goal of countering negative stereotypes of Muslims. The Pakistan-born Muslim had been served divorce papers 1 week before police found his wife's body at the TV station. She was stabbed and decapitated. Prosecutors argued that he was trying to control her after she filed for divorce. Some have speculated it was a so-called Islamic honor killing.
The CEO of National Public Radio has lost her job over a videotape showing one of her employees insulting Christians and conservatives. The network announced Vivian Schiller has now resigned. In the undercover video, the NPR employee tells activists posing as Muslims, Christians in the Tea Party were some kind of weird evangelicals. He also called Republicans, the Tea Party rather, gun-toting racists. The fundraiser has now left NPR as well. Lawmakers are threatening to cut all federal funding to National Public Radio. NPR's media correspondent says Vivian Schiller was forced to resign.
A dramatic change in the Wisconsin battle late last night. Senate Republicans finally ending the weeks-long standover over union rights. They used a procedural move so they could finally have a vote without the Democrats who fled the state. As Heather Sells reports, that clears the way for the state assembly to take up the bill.
Senate Republicans discovered a way to bypass the chamber's Democrats and voted to strip nearly all union bargaining rights from public workers. This dramatic scene shows a Democratic House member protesting the procedure.
Well, this is a violation of the open meetings law. You're not allowing amendments, and that is wrong. Now, Mr. Chairman, this is a violation of law. This is not just a rule, it is the law. There must be... No, Mr. Chairman.
Democratic senators hiding out in Illinois were furious about the vote.
They just took a vote right over the top of one of the members who was trying to point out that it was an illegal meeting.
After the vote, the word got out and protesters began pouring into the Capitol. Some even spent the night. But the Senate's chief clerk later said the meeting was properly held, and the governor is praising the move. I applaud the legislature's action today to stand up to the status quo and take a step in the right direction to balance the budget and reform government. Assembly Majority Leader Robin Vos will guide the bill today. He says this letter from the Senate's Democratic Minority Leader asking for more concessions convinced Republicans to move forward.
We saw that the Senate Democrats were not sincere about trying to actually come back to Wisconsin. They were holding out for a win that was not sustainable. Big labor bosses in Washington, D.C. were dictating their actions.
The measure forbids most government workers from collectively bargaining for wage increases beyond inflation unless approved by a referendum. The House is expected to approve this today. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Heather, thank you. Foreclosures are at a 36-month low due to increased scrutiny of foreclosure proceedings by banks. Foreclosure notices are down 14% from January and 27% from this time last year. Federal and state investigations launched last fall caused lenders to slow down the rate of foreclosures. Severe weather, by the way, was also a factor.
A severe weather system that ripped across the southeast Wednesday tore roofs off buildings and overturned cars. At least 2 tornadoes touched down in southern Alabama. Near Mobile, high winds blew out restaurant windows and ripped off the roof of this gas station. In Mississippi, a woman died in a house fire authorities believe was caused by lightning. This home in Ohio was swept away by floodwaters. In Florida, the storm sucked nearly all of the furniture out of one home, and a possible tornado destroyed at least 8 more. The governors of Alabama and Louisiana have declared states of emergency.
All kind of debris and stuff started crashing into my car and tin and stuff, and it was ungodly. It was ungodly. I mean, hail, it was big old hail. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life come through here a while ago.
Flood watches extend from New York down to North Carolina as forecasters expect more rain into the weekend.
The pro-life organization 40 Days for Life kicked off its international prayer initiative this week. 40 Days for Life is a community-based campaign with a vision to end abortion. The campaign incorporates prayer and fasting outside of abortion clinics. Organizers credit prayer for the recent closings of 9 abortion clinics across the country. Organizers say this year's campaign launch is the largest. It will run in 247 cities in the U.S., as well as sites in Canada, Australia, England, and Spain. The campaign runs through April 17th. For more information, log on to our website, cbnnews.com.
Coming up, clashes in Cairo. A protest for religious freedom in Egypt turns deadly as Muslims attack Christians in the streets.
Have you ever had an idea for an invention or new product? Bill Schaefer, one of the inventors of Whammo's new Splash Wash, did. He came up with the idea while watching his children play one hot summer afternoon. Bill invented a car wash for kids. Ride through it, run through it. InventHelp submitted the Splash Wash to Whammo, the makers of childhood favorites like the Frisbee, Hula Hoop, and Slip and Slide. If you have an invention you would like to try to patent and submit to corporations and want free information that explains how InventHelp may be able to assist you, call now. InventHelp is America's largest invention company with sales offices in over 50 cities nationwide. Call InventHelp today for free information. Bill Schaefer made a financial gain on the Splash Wash. However, most inventions are not successful, and Bill's experience is not typical of what inventors can expect.
For your free inventor's information, call 1-800-260-7793. That's 1-800-260-7793.
I've fallen and I can't get up. I need help.
When you are home alone and have a bad fall where you cannot move, you are stuck in a very limited area. If you cannot reach a phone, you may lay helpless on the floor for hours or days, which can result in permanent incapacitation or death.
This waterproof pendant is my magic wand. To some of the paramedics, fire department, police, or my doctor, it contacts Life Alert.
When you have a heart attack like I did, and there's no one there, Life Alert was there for me. I couldn't handle the alternative of going to a nursing home.
Thanks to Life Alert, you can live alone without ever being alone. And that's why I wear one.
New Life Alert Classic for seniors or Life Alert 50+.
Please call 1-800-586-0025 for a free brochure about Life Alert. That's 1-800-586-0025. Call us toll-free now at 1-800-586-0025. That number again, 1-800-586-0025.
The International Red Cross says Libyan civilians are increasingly bearing the brunt of the fighting between Muammar Gaddafi's army and rebel forces. The group reports dozens killed or wounded in recent days. The fight to oust the dictator has intensified on a front line where rebels are bringing in heavy weapons. But doctors in Ajdabiyah say have seen a sharp increase in casualties and operated on 55 people just this past week. Red Cross teams are cut off from western areas where they believe there are even more severely injured victims.
An Israeli diplomat says smuggling arms from Egypt into the Gaza Strip has grown following recent unrest. Hamas uses a vast network of tunnels under the Egyptian border to smuggle explosives and military supplies. Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon says Israel has observed increased activity in Gaza. He believes militants are taking advantage of the region's instability to boost their ability to attack Israel. Gaza is bordered by Israel and Egypt. Militants have fired thousands of rockets at Israel in recent years.
The embattled leader of Yemen is offering to draw up a new constitution to end weeks of protests in his country. President Ali Abdullah Saleh pledges the new constitution would establish a separation of legislative and executive powers. It would also make provisions for general elections to strengthen the role of parliament. Opposition leaders say the proposal comes much too late, though they will consider it. Earlier this week, a government crackdown on protesters left 98 people injured.
At least 13 Egyptians are dead and more than 140 wounded after a Muslim mob attacked Christian protesters earlier this week. Even after the violence, thousands of the faithful hit the streets again, calling for an end to years of persecution by Muslims and the government. John Wagi has more.
Chanting, "Come and join us," the Christians in Cairo's Tahrir Square want an end to the kind of attacks that led to Tuesday's killings. The shooting attack by Muslims followed this demonstration by Coptic Christians in Cairo. The Christian protesters blocked a bridge, angry about Muslim destruction of churches, repeated murders, and a lack of protection from the government. Last weekend, Muslims chanting Allahu Akbar destroyed this Coptic church south of Cairo, killing 2 people. The government has promised to rebuild the church with public money, but Christians are concerned about a fight from the Muslims.
It is a problem because the people who are in this village are still insisting, until probably yesterday, they were still insisting that they will change this spot into a mosque.
Egyptian Christians still have painful memories of a New Year's Day suicide bombing of a church in Alexandria that killed 21 people. With the Coptic Church comprising 10% of Egypt's population, the recent persecution is a big problem for Egypt's post-Mubarak leadership.
We want a law which says if someone commits a crime, he would be punished, whether he is Muslim or Christian. As Coptics, we have never destroyed a mosque because our religion has taught us to be forgiving.
As the country prepares for elections, the hostility isn't just between Muslims and Christians. This riot Wednesday was between rival political factions. But Christians feel particularly threatened.
The country has never gone into a time where the security system was so weak.
The persecution of Christians in Egypt has been going on for centuries. Believers are praying that new leadership and new laws will help change a dangerous situation. John Wagi, CBN News.
Up next, they're called the Free Burma Rangers, and they get their marching orders through prayer. See how these heroes are helping persecuted Christians.
Starting a garden doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not when you have the Mantis Tiller Cultivator. It does all the hard work for you. The Mantis Tiller weighs about 20 pounds. It's easy for anyone to handle. 3 convenient power options spin the patented tines deep into the soil. They dig down, cutting through the hardest clay and tangled weeds. They're so tough, they're actually guaranteed never to break. And on our 2-cycle model, Mantis offers the fast start engine option. It's our easiest starting 2-cycle tiller ever. Tilling, weeding, and cultivating have never been easier. And now you can get this amazing Mantis Tiller Cultivator at huge savings. Order now, and we include a kickstand accessory, this border edger attachment, and free shipping. Use the Mantis for a full year, and if you're not delighted, return it for a prompt, no questions asked refund.
Call 1-800-707-2105 today for a free DVD and information kit. That's 1-800-707-2105.
Attention those on Medicare with diabetes. You may be eligible for an upgraded meter.
If you're tired of stabbing your fingertips to test your blood glucose, we have news that could change your life. If you're on Medicare with diabetes, then you need to know there's an alternative method for checking your blood glucose every day. You don't need to stab your fingertips anymore. The Embrace meter from Diabetes Care Club is easier to use and nearly painless. And the best news is that Diabetes Care Club would love to send you one of these meters. This method hurts less, and because you can see and hear your results, it may be easier to understand.
Your blood glucose reading is 89.
Call now to find out why. Nearly 250,000 patients have joined Diabetes Care Club. Membership is free, so is the call.
Call 1-800-833-8011.
Talk to Diabetes Care Club. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to the CBN News Channel. If you're just joining us, here are a few of the top stories we're following for you today. The House of Representatives begins hearing on the radicalization within the U.S. Muslim community. In Wisconsin, the Senate has voted to strip collective bargaining rights for state employees.
A Christian group in Muslim Malaysia says it is fed up with the government restrictions on Bibles. The Christian Federation of Malaysia wants officials to release a shipment of Bibles for distribution. About 30,000 Malay language Bibles are currently held up at a port in Borneo. The dispute stems from the government's ban on the use of the word Allah for God in Christian literature. A court ruled in December 2009 that Christians can use the word in their materials, but the government is appealing.
This Sunday, Christians around the world will be praying for the country of Burma.
That's right. The military regime there has committed just about every human rights atrocity imaginable against ethnic minorities and against Christians. Gary Lane has that story.
Perhaps no ethnic minority group has suffered more in Burma than the Karen. About 40% of them are Christian. They've waged an armed resistance against the government for more than 60 years. That's because the Burmese military has targeted these ethnic Burmese for extinction. Soldiers have killed thousands of Karen men, raped Karen women and girls, and destroyed their homes and churches. An army raid on the village of Ta Dadur last July left Ma Hala and 36 other families homeless.
They started shelling and then came and slept in our village. Before they left the following morning, they burned it.
Ma and his wife survived because they fled the village moments before the Burmese soldiers arrived.
My wife and I went to the church and we prayed. In my prayer, I said, "All things belong to you, O God." I couldn't carry anything anymore. I just carried my Bible and my pistol. We left to another place to stay with our nephews.
But many villagers have had nowhere to go. Government attacks in the past 18 months have caused more than 100,000 ethnic Chin Christians to flee to neighboring India. Overall, an estimated 200,000 ethnic Burmese are living in refugee camps. More than 1 million are internally displaced. David Eubank met pro-democracy leader Nobel Peace Prize winner Aung San Suu Kyi in 1996. She asked him to pray for Burma. Eubank started an annual global day of prayer for the nation the following year. And he founded a humanitarian relief group called the Free Burma Rangers.
The main job of the Free Burma Rangers is to give help, hope, and love. And for all that, I depend on God. But most of our people are believers. And our job is to give immediate help. That's medical help. That's tarps for places like this when they've lost their home. It's clothes, mosquito nets, pots, pans, food. It's also to put a light on what's happening when the Burma Army destroys a place.
Helping the displaced Karen inside Burma comes with great risk. Some of Eubank's team members have been killed in firefights with the Burma Army. Eubank has had many close calls. He's also been arrested in a neighboring country. Through it all, Eubank says he remains dependent on God. He and his team members seek protection and guidance through prayer.
Prayer is the air we breathe and the spirit we have as we talk to God. And we do everything as much as we can with prayer. And I love it because God's answers are always very specific and very doable. They may be scary, they may be embarrassing, they may be dangerous, they may be humiliating, they may cost you everything, but they're very doable and they're very specific.
As for those the Free Burma Rangers serve, the Karen and other Burmese ethnics, many spend their days just struggling to survive. Many Karen became Christians because of the work of American missionary Adoniram Judson nearly 200 years ago. Ma Hala is confident the Karen's relationship with God over the years will save them.
God loves the Karen people and will not allow the Burma Army to destroy us.
They pray to see a day when they will be free from the military regime that oppresses them. Eubank is confident that day will come.
A friend of mine wrote me. He said, "Dave, I just read the book of Daniel. And man, that book, I don't understand a lot about that book, but one thing became very clear. Tyrants fall, every last one of them."
In the meantime, he asks Christians around the world to pray for Burma.
Please pray to God. Ask God what you should do. When we come to God with open hearts and minds and willing willingness, He guides us. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
And Gary Lane has been to the refugee camps where the Karen people have found protection. He tells us the Christian community is really growing and thriving there, and the children whose parents were killed by the Burmese government are actually forgiving the killers.
How beautiful, how beautiful. Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Millions of women worldwide love Bare Minerals.
This is smooth, it's nice, and it covers. I like that.
Only Bare Minerals looks like beautiful bare skin, while it covers whatever you want it to. And now you can get our latest kit with our totally new, totally spill-proof Click Lock Go foundation. For over 75% off retail, our new kit comes with Bare Minerals foundation in the shade that's just right for you. Warmth for a healthy glow. Mineral Veil, the ultimate finishing touch, and Bare Minerals Flawless Application Brush. Call now and get 3 full-size gifts worth $57.95 free. Purchased separately, you'd spend over $120. Our original Get Started kit was a great deal at 2 payments of $29.99. But now you can get all this for just 1 payment of $29.99. Save over $90 and get a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Call 1-800-376-4174. Ask how you can receive this handy compact. Call 1-800-376-4174 now.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now and Areva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Areva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Areva today. You'd be glad you did.
A California couple is hosting a yard sale to make amends with their neighbors, but it's not really a sale.
That's right. Mainly, it's a chance for neighbors to reclaim their missing items. And the thief, a cat named Dusty. The cat burglar, if you will, was featured on the Animal Planet after stealing small items around the neighborhood. His owners say it's a full-time job to return the items day after day until now.
Dusty brought all these things, and what we're hoping for is the owners to come and claim it.
I found my shoe.
And this is mine. I didn't even know it was gone.
He had a full bath towel in his mouth. And, you know, the cat's got a little mouth.
Daddy, are these mine? Daddy, are these all mine?
Some underwear. Dusty took all these things.
We got burglarized and we didn't even know it.
Don't leave anything outside that you don't want gone. And if you're missing something, come to our house.
Anyway, Dusty's notoriety has not only landed him on TV, he's also been asked to be the Grand Marshal in the town's upcoming pet parade. Did I hear someone say underwear?
Yeah, I think I'm missing a few things too.
Socks, yeah.
Yeah, you name it. That is going to do it for this hour of the CBN News Channel. You can find more of today's top headlines, along with our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
Also, stay up to date with us through Facebook and Twitter. We hope you'll join us next time. Have a terrific day. God bless.
Fresh, wholesome juice. There's nothing like it. But until now, you had to stress and strain and make a huge mess to get just a little bit of juice. But not anymore, thanks to the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer. You can drop in whole vegetables, whole fruits, apples, oranges, celery, cucumbers with no chopping, no slicing, no struggling. And thanks to the Power Juicer's revolutionary patented extraction technology, you can get up to 30% more juice than those other juicers. Doctors recommend we get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. With the Power Juicer, you'll be drinking your recommended daily allowance in in just seconds. And the pulp from the extra-large pulp catcher can be used to make pasta sauces, healthy desserts, and much more. The Power Juicer is dishwasher safe, so cleanup's a breeze, and the powerful motor is guaranteed for life. Order the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer now for just 2 easy payments of $49.90. And as part of this special TV offer, we'll also send you this amazing recipe guide filled with over 60 of Jack's favorite recipes. Try the Jack LaLanne Power Juicer in your home risk-free for 30 days. If you're not completely satisfied, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price, no questions asked. Call now.
I was always on the cusp of exploding. So I figured out if I get rid of the wife and the kids, then I can just send them money. Went to the junk drawer, I got the Bible out, put the tape in, and I believe that moment, Christ made sense. There is no earthly reason why we're still married. It is a divine intervention, and I thank God, in showing me what love, grace, and forgiveness looks like.